Hey everyone, welcome back to Red, Blue, and You. Today we're diving into an urgent topic that affects all of us: AI, jobs, and the future of American workers. Senator Josh Hawley is making headlines with his strong stance on protecting workers in the age of artificial intelligence. He's pushing for accountability, fair wages, and making sure AI doesn't replace hardworking Americans. I've got a breakdown of his key arguments that you need to hear. But before we get into it, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into politics, tech, and the future of work. All right, let's get started.
Good, very good. Thank you for that. Let me ask you a little bit about artificial intelligence, which is something else that you and I discussed, and I enjoyed our conversation. You talked about your tenure at the EEOC and your role that you played helping to determine the appropriate uses for AI in hiring. What role do you think AI should play when it comes to federal hiring?
I think that we have to look at this, whether it's the federal government or the private sector, the same way. The tools that are being developed out of Silicon Valley are being used in the hiring process, not just here in the US, but across the world. And I think the US needs to obviously lead in that innovation, and we need to keep that innovation here. But how do we do that? And that's what we discussed, making sure that all these tools are designed in accordance with our longstanding laws, no matter what the use is. We talked about employment, but there's obviously a lot of different kinds of uses of artificial intelligence. And we are not going to be able to succeed as a global leader in AI without making sure that the products are developed, designed, and deployed in accordance with the laws that Congress have passed. Not new laws yet, not new government bodies, with what we have in the executive branch. And there's a lot of old laws that we can apply to this. They're not outdated. That's our job to apply.
Let me just zoom out on this a little bit and ask you more broadly. Many American workers are very concerned about losing their jobs to AI, concerns that I think are very well-founded. What's your message to American workers who feel at risk from this so-called AI revolution and think, gee, pretty soon I'm not going to have a job at all?
Well, this is a very, very important conversation, and another conversation on how we win, making sure that all workplace workers who are going to be either using these tools, subject to these tools, are not fearful that they're going to be replaced by them. And that's really working with the entire AI community, whether it's the venture capitalists, the vendors, to ensure that these products are developed, designed, and deployed with that in mind, that this is going to essentially make your job easier, better, and you could be more enjoyable and thrive more in the workplace and not having that fear of displacement. And if these tools are used to displace workers, that's a whole different conversation that we need to have before that occurs, to make sure that all protections in the workforce are built into these systems. Because if they're not, then that's a part we could use law enforcement if jobs are improperly being displaced by artificial intelligence, the same way we would do if it was by humans.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that answer, and I just want to register a concern here that I've registered in other contexts, which is we hear a lot about the AI revolution and how wonderful it's going to be for workers. And I hope that that's true. And I think it should be the business of this Congress to make sure it is true, because what I am not willing to see are large amounts of jobs, or really any number of good-paying jobs, ruined, destroyed, taken by AI. We have too few good-paying blue-collar jobs in this country. I don't want an AI revolution that takes away even more of those jobs. I remember when the CEO of Microsoft not so long ago was sitting where you're sitting and testifying before a different committee of which I was a member, and he said, "Oh, we should love AI. It's wonderful. Soon we will automate and take away all kinds of non-creative jobs that we really don't need in this country anymore, like everyone who might work at a service restaurant, for example. We just won't need any of those people." I said to him, that's not a utopia. That sounds to me like a dystopia. That sounds to me like you're eliminating hundreds of thousands, millions of jobs that are often the way that workers get their foot in the door, they get into the labor force. So I'm glad to hear your answers. I'm glad for your work on AI. We've got to make sure that our workers are benefiting from this technology, not being ravaged and preyed upon by this technology.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If you agree that AI should help workers, hit that subscribe button because we cover these issues all the time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.